Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, races, and ethnicities alike, the world's symbol of peace and justice has entered the chat. Fear not, for I am here. What is going on, people? NGS back again for another video, and if you could not tell by that intro, I've been rewatching way too much My Hero Academia. I mean, what could I say? I love that show, and if you haven't checked out the new movie, I implore you to because it's pretty dope. Now, that being said, let's move on to the topic for today's discussion. There was a demo that released not too long ago on the PlayStation Store for one of, if not the most anticipated game of the year, going neck and neck with Animal Crossing and Doom. This game has been in the talks for the better part of 15 years. It kind of took us a lot of time to get to where we are today, but we finally got a chance to experience the remake of Final Fantasy VII. Yes, the most timely person on the face of the earth is giving his hot off the presses thoughts on a demo that came out a week and a half ago. Now, I actually do have some explanations as to why I waited a little bit. You know, despite the fact that I'm black and we perpetually run on color people time, I wanted to give myself some time to let my thoughts gestate. You know, because when you have something that you're looking forward to, whether it's moderately or you're ready to cream your jeans over, whenever they give you a chance to experience just a sliver of said product, your judgment can be skewed either one of two ways. Either it's going to live up to all of your expectations and more, or this experience is going to be something completely disappointing to you. And there are multiple factors as to why. More often than not, I feel like if it's a demo for something, it's not really indicative of the final product in the sense that you need the entire experience as a whole to really formulate your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Something could just be a really bad demo. Likewise, they could be giving you all the best bits of the game in this demo, and that's all you get. And when you have a property like Final Fantasy VII and you throw in nostalgia, oh my god, Final Fantasy VII is an institution in and of itself. Forget the brand itself, Final Fantasy VII is a franchise. And I'm not gonna lie, your boy's been kind of hesitant. You know, just the years leading up to it, we went almost 4 years without seeing anything of the game. No updates whatsoever, outside of the leaks and the rumors of them restarting development outside of CyberConnect 2 and all this nonsense. You know, and then when you throw in the fact that it was going to be multiple releases, it wasn't looking good, man. But then E3 2019 came, and I'm not going to lie, that stage demo was pretty hot. And more trailers came out, and I'm not going to lie, they were pretty fire. And then they released this demo, and I'm not going to lie, this shit is looking pretty fucking good. Yo, I'm just being 100% honest with y'all because that's all I can be. A lot of my fears towards the Final Fantasy VII Remake are starting to dissipate after I played through this demo not once but twice. I played through it once and I really enjoyed it a lot, but I wanted to give myself a couple of days to play it again to see if I still felt the same. Not only did I still feel the same, but I felt a lot better about the game. I felt more confident going into it, you know, despite the fact that I'm getting the game for like $45 because of the Amazon pre-order discount thing. But yeah, there's a lot to like about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, of course, like, I got to set up some context surrounding it. You know, a lot of people are either 100% excited about this or they're writing it off completely because of this game's battle system. This game is going to live and die based off of the battle system, you know, which I'll touch on later. But everything else surrounding this game, from what I've played, this is Final Fantasy VII. This is Final Fantasy VII in its heart and its soul and its core, made by people who know the game, who know everything about it, except with a different execution. That's all it is, you know? And I know a lot of people are going to write it off because they think it's an action game, which, I mean, when you first saw the game unveiled, yeah, it did look a lot like a generic action title. But this game's combat system has evolved since then. This game is literally about as most action-y you can make out of a Japanese RPG remake. This isn't like a paradigm shift where it's just turn-based and they make it into something like Devil May Cry, like I see that thrown around for some reason. This isn't Final Fantasy turned into Kingdom Hearts. No. This is literally Final Fantasy VII. It's not turn-based. And you have the option
to play it like an action game. The option. Why do I say that? Because it still has a lot of the strategic elements of Final Fantasy VII in there. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean the fact that you can't just simply go ahead and button mash everything to beat every enemy. I see a lot of people throwing it out there like, yeah, you can just beat all these enemies just button mashing it, swinging the sword, or just shooting at them. No. There's still some strategy attached to this. There are certain enemies that are immune to your physical attacks. How are you going to button mash that? There are certain enemies that you have to actually combo and use certain abilities, to take them down. You got to use your spells. You got to use different characters. This is still a strategy RPG in that sense. They still got the strategic element attached to it. But let's call a spade for a second. When you first played Final Fantasy VII in 1997, right? All of y'all out there who are saying that, this combat system is dull, it's repetitive and monotonous, that was Final Fantasy VII when it first came out. No. A lot of those battles in the first couple hours of the game, you could breeze through, no questions asked, like you can in every other JRPG. There are very few JRPGs with a great battle system that hooks you from the beginning. It's either dull and monotonous for a purpose, or it's overly complex for no reason whatsoever than being overly complex. But those JRPGs that start out dull and monotonous, they expand and they grow and they become great. Why? Because it goes based off the story, just like the original Final Fantasy VII. And then they introduce the materia system and all these other things. So if you're judging the entirety of this combat system based off of a 1-hour demo, and they're being very, very particular about showing you certain things about this game, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's really genuine. Because if you showed someone the first hour of Final Fantasy VII, you were like, yeah, this is the entire combat system, you'd be like, man, what the heck is this? What is this nonsense? So that's why I don't really think it's fair to judge the entire system based off of this 1-hour demo. Now, if the game opens up and it really doesn't become the combat system we thought it was, oh yeah, I'll be there to be like, yo, this shit fucking sucks. But as it stands right now, it's cool. It's straight. I don't really have a problem with it. It feels fine. Like everything feels as good as it's supposed to for an action title. You know what I'm saying? One thing I will complain about, and I don't know if this is just because of the setting of the demo, the camera was very wonky. Like there were times where I was taking down some of the little robotic guys, and the camera was just all over the place. I thought it was just because of it was a closed off environment and certain things. That might have been the reason why. But yeah, it was just kind of irritating to an extent. But as a whole, it plays out as an action version of a turn-based title. You know what I'm saying? Like you use the attacks to build up your meters to do your specials, and then you do your abilities. I guess you can complain about the little nuances of the fact that you have to build up your meter to use like your items and all that stuff. But I'm willing to give the game the benefit of the doubt for it to open up and expand to see some of the differences. But yeah, I have really not much to complain about it. It does not play like Kingdom Hearts like a lot of people are saying. In fact, I go so far as to say this is what Final Fantasy 15 should have been. I mean, if they were going to rework Versus entirely into a game that Versus wasn't supposed to be in the first place, Versus was supposed to be an action spinoff like Kingdom Hearts. It should have stayed like that. It shouldn't have been a main title where you have the Final Fantasy name. This is what they should have done. This is exactly what they should have done. Because you still have a lot of those elements attached to it, whereas Final Fantasy 15, you can really button mash it. I mean, I button mashed the shit out of that game. Now, that being said, everything else surrounding the demo is just Final Fantasy love, man. Love and appreciation. The visuals, I mean, Square Enix, they're really top of their game with that. The voice acting is surprisingly really good, which is not something I expect for a lot of JRPGs. I mean, of course, there are some few exceptions, but as a whole, it just comes off as like really corny, cringy anime video game dialogue. But here it actually sounds very believable, so you can tell they actually took the time and effort to make these characters sound like characters. And yeah, all these characters, with the new voice actors, they sound pretty much like I envisioned they would sound when I played the game. When did I play it? Like 10, 11 years ago? Oh, yes, that's a fun fact. I should have led with this right now. Unlike a lot of people, I don't really have a lot of nostalgia towards Final Fantasy VII since I actually played it when I got my PS3 in 2009. So I played it pretty much with a conscience of, hey, okay, I'm playing this game. It's great. I've also played 9 and 6 and all those other games before it. So 7 was just kind of like the game that got away. I don't know why. It makes no sense. But yeah, it seems really cool. The first section of this game, this demo that they put out, I went back and I replayed the opening section of Final Fantasy VII, and it feels identical to it, except brought up to the modern ages. And for better or for worse, that's great. And if they could keep that same energy later on going forward with the entire experience of the game, I'm all for it. Now, that being said, I still have my cautions surrounding the game. I mean, as everyone knows, it's going to be multiple parts. It's not episodic like we all used to think it was. That was a term that was thrown around like 5 years ago, and it was just sort of like a mistranslation. They meant multiple game releases, but people just assume episodic. I mean, they think episodic at the time, Telltale, whatever. But it's going to be multiple full standalone releases. Now, that can go either way. It could either be a really great experience, and they can use it to expand the entire lore of Final Fantasy VII, and maybe they could do some crazy things like include like Crisis Core as its own section, and maybe Dirge as Cerberus. God, that game was so edgy. But if it's just like padded for the sake of being padded, like Final Fantasy 15, where they have this open world that's literally dead and the missions are no different than Ubisoft Fetch Quest, then I'm going to be sorely disappointed. But again, we will find out when the game comes out in a month's time. And yeah, till then, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be excited for a Square Enix AAA title, because most of the games I've been excited for them recently have been like smaller releases, such as Octopath Traveler, and, you know, franchises that you really can't screw up. You have to do a lot to screw up, like Dragon Quest, you know what I'm saying? Like, those games I'm excited for. But like big budget releases like Final Fantasy and those type of games, I haven't been too excited because it's been all over the place. But this is looking good. It's looking good, y'all. And that's all I really have to say. So fingers crossed, come the release, it actually lives up to the expectations. We'll have to see. Anyways, from me to you for now, my name is NGS signing on. Like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.